All right, guys, let's talk about Tenebrae, or Tenebrae without the A. Tenebrae. Doesn't matter. They are both pronounced the same. Um, Now, I personally think that this is my favorite Argento film. I shouldn't say it's the best because the best is just your opinion, and that doesn't mean anything. But my opinion on what's my favorite, I can have, and this is my favorite Argento film. Having seen the majority of his films before and everything I've watched so far, I have seen in the past. I was looking forward to seeing all these back to back, especially some of his earlier films, like namely Suspiria and Deep Red, because those are heavy contenders for my favorite of his. And I have always cited this as my favorite of his, and watching them all back to back, I still am sticking to that. This is my favorite Argento film. I do have, the rest of his filmography left, but I just don't think anything else is going to beat it from my memory of it. There is a couple I still haven't seen, but from what I've heard, they're not good at all, like Dracula and stuff. So I still haven't seen that, Jesus. But I will be watching it this time. So another reason why I wanted to do this. There's a couple movies he's done that I still haven't watched, but I do own them. And I just was like, all right, here we go. Let's do this. Anyway, now this movie is also a buddy of mine, Dylan Clancy, his favorite. And I know he'll be watching this one because he's been waiting for this review. So I'm pretty sure, if my memory serves me correctly, this is his favorite movie of all time. So this is like no joke, a favorite of his. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that's correct. This was made in 1982, which was a wonderful year for horror, with also John Carpenter's The Thing, which I consider to be the greatest horror movie ever made. But that's just my opinion. So I do not say that as fact. If you were to ask me personally, but if you want to disagree with that, that is your right. Dylan, I think, maybe would argue with me on that and say this is it, but hey. All right, so for some of you who don't know what this is about for some reason, I am going to be talking about spoilers after, but really quick synopsis. A murder mystery writer is, has his work out there. He's released a new novel called Tenebrae, and a killer kills a lady and stuffs some of the pages from his book into her mouth so the cops come question him. And he starts to investigate the murder himself and uses his sleuthing skills that he's learned through years of writing murder mysteries to try to solve this crime. John Saxon is in this movie, which John Saxon is in just about everything in the 80s in horror, and I love it. Anytime Saxon's in a movie, yes. Sign me up. He just rocks the shit. This is also the second Argento film in a row, with Inferno before this, starting with a character reading a novel out loud to the audience. So I thought that was interesting to see that in two films in a row. Our main guy here, Peter, the writer, he rides his bike to the airport and has a driver follow him, and he gives the bike to the driver, and the driver gives him his his bike. I guess that's an interesting way to travel. I don't think I've ever seen that before. I don't know if you could do that these days. The airports are a little different and much bigger. But damn, man, yeah, get your workout in right before you get on the plane and just conk out probably from being exhausted. So yeah, it might be a good plan. Then we get this girl who is caught for shoplifting. And this looks like the beginning of half the pornos that my friends watch. Where she's like, can't we work out some kind of deal? Here's my address. Come on over and fuck me later and let this go. He says she's been convicted, I think, like 14 times or 12 times or something insane like that. Must have different laws over there, and this is the 80s. So, but yeah, it's just so funny. It's just like, he's so whatever. He's like, okay, what's your address? And he goes, okay, bye. And she just walks out, and it's like, all right, we just made like a completely dirty transaction, and No biggie. I do this with everybody I shop with now. That's why it's not at 40 and it's all the way back at 12. Then she's just attacked by a homeless man out of nowhere. There's a lot of convenient things in this movie like that. Where a dog a dog, well, that's later. This homeless man comes and attacks her through the fence and then comes through the door and he's chasing after her. He pushes her to the ground. She knocks over some trash cans and she runs into her house after trying to get through her gate. And she goes in and her first reaction is to strip down to a, like a man's button-up t-shirt. And I don't know if she's wearing panties or not. Yeah, she is, but like very skimpy. And that's it. And then she opens up her window, she talks to her neighbor, and her neighbor's like, "Oh, how have you been?" She's like, "I'm fine," and like goes back to it. And then she goes over and opens up the door, and the freaking bum is still there, and he's like, he's trying to rape her, I guess. And behind her, the killer pops up. This girl's having a bad fucking day. First, she's caught shoplifting. Second, she's gonna have to fuck this old disgusting dude behind the counter to get out of it, which is her own fault, don't get me wrong. And then she's almost raped by this guy, and then she's murdered by this guy, all in about, 5 minutes? This girl has had a whole lot of fucking shit going on. I just love how nonchalant she is about being attacked. This is just a regular thing for her, I guess. Maybe over in Rome, this is like, an everyday occurrence. People are almost raped. And they're just like, oh, well, that's part of it's like property tax or something. Anyway, we also get one of those people who is, citing it like a Roger Ebert, fucking Siskel and Ebert bullshit. Remember that back in the day when they were talking about how disgusting slasher movies are and how they were just geared towards, sexism towards women and women were always the victims and they were gonna protest them and no critic should give them any bullshit. Ever look that up? Fuck those guys, man. That's some horse shit, but whatever. We get one of those in here. I don't know when that took place. It might have been around then because that was for like Friday the 13th or something, which is an 80. So I don't know. I'd like to look up those days. So I'm curious on if that was kind of playing off of that. Like, you guys are disgusting, and Argento caught wind of that and put one of these pieces of shit in the movie. I hate people like that, man. Fuck off. Let me have my murder. I need it. Okay. I like when she offers him a drink. She's like, I'd offer you a drink, but you probably don't drink on duty. And he's like, no, I only drink on duty. Give me a bourbon. That's just fucking fantastic. Talk about, finally, an honest cop in a movie, right? A police officer is always made to look like such dipshit, lying, fucking corrupt assholes. But this guy is just like, he's on the ball and he's honest. He's like, no, I drink. I only drink when I'm working, so I'm good because I'm loose and I'm open to anything. Then we get this flashback of this girl who's like about to shoot a fucking bukkake video, I guess, and she's like waist high on these three dudes, and then this other guy comes over, and she's just like, because they're trying to do it artistically and not have any, dialogue. They have to like convey to her to the audience that she's like, all right, I'll suck these three dicks, but you downer. She like literally gives him a thumbs down to him or his dick. He doesn't have his dick out, so maybe she saw it earlier, or she's just looking at the guy and he's too short. I don't know what it is, but she like literally gives him a thumb down. I'm not blowing you, okay? That would just be disgraceful. I'm just gonna blow these three random guys. Get out of here. What do you think I am, a slut? And then he slaps her, so she like tells the dudes like, hey, you want a blowy? You better go get that guy. So it's a little blow and go, and they fuck this guy up, and she shoves her high heel down his throat. I guess she's like reversing the role. You wanted me to take it, now you gonna take it. A lot of blowjob talk here. I really like this shot of this girl later in the movie. Her friend goes off to like fuck this guy that she's been casually seeing. She's like, fine, no strings attached. And she's clearly pissed off about her friend's promiscuous. I don't use the word slut very casually. I take that seriously. Whatever people want to do with their own bodies is their own free will. I don't judge. But her friend takes the bad guy back, fucks him, and her friend comes home, and she's trying to change her shirt, and when she's like in the middle of putting it on, the killer cuts a hole through it, and we see her face through the hole, and I just adore that shot. There's so many great shots in this movie, don't get me wrong, but something about that one really stands out for me. And a minute or two later, we get another fantastic one, which is this one right here. Kind of. I mean, I don't know if that's her exactly, but that's it. Her head's leaning over the railings, and oh, well, there you go. There's the hole through the shirt one. I guess whoever made these covers also agrees with me that those are the cool shots. But her friend, it was making me funny, because she making me funny. I'm already funny, okay? It doesn't need to make me funny. Making me laugh, all right? Her friend has a sheet on, but she's like only like very loosely holding it, and it's just like one tit is fully exposed, and then she kind of just lets it fall and brings it back up. Maybe she's just trying to cover, her vagina or something, but she's not even doing a very good job of that. So I'm not really sure, and she's like wet the whole time. Like, she doesn't seem to air dry ever. She just is continually wet. I don't know if she's sweating or what, but it's just really humid, I guess. But she's just not covering any parts of her tits. I don't know why she's even bothering holding this sheet. No complaints, none at all. I just thought it was fucking hilarious. Then we get this girl who just, she opens up and she's like the maintenance girl. I'm not saying that women can't be maintenance people and work on plumbing and whatnot, but some cute little like 20-year-old, maybe 18-year-old girl comes over and is like, "Oh, I'm here to fix your plumbing," and the writer's freaking assistant or whatever, who he ends up having sex with, she's all jealous and she's like, "Oh, you move quick, don't you?" Then she comes over later and the kid that's there is like, "All right, I'll walk you down." And then he just takes off with her on her motorcycle. This guy's got moves, man. He's quick. He gets her on the bike. And then I don't know what happened, because she like so willingly grabs onto him, and it's like, all right. And they like run out the door, and he's like, "Arr, arr, arr, arr," on her. It looks like they know each other. It looks like they have some kind of a, romantic entanglement going on. I have no idea. But then we don't really see what happens. And she's brought back somewhere. He drops her off wherever. And she's like, saying something to him, all huffy, and then he like just drives off, and she's like, "Go fuck yourself," or whatever. So I don't know what happened there. I don't know if he was like trying to get in her pants and she was like, "Oh, hell no," or what. I'm guessing that's probably what it is. But then she's trying to walk home, and this Doberman is just hungry for this girl, and he jumps the fence, and she turns around and sees that he's out, which is just terrifying to me. Oh my God, that would be horrible. And she runs, and it just so happens to chase her to the killer's house. You want to talk... I'm about to pull some fucking Dr. Evil right now and just be like, right. That's how I felt during that scene. It's like a girl that just so happens to be connected to this writer gets chased by a crazed Doberman right to the killer's house, and she gets locked in the house and then finds the evidence. Don't get me wrong. As I said, I love this movie. These aren't negatives. I've told you before in the past, with Argento movies, there's a lot of suspension of disbelief that has to be had. It isn't so much about, legitimacy. It's not about like trying to tell a completely believable story. Usually with his films, it's style over substance. This has the best story of the last few films for sure, since Deep Red. But man, you have to be like, okay, sure, that would happen. Why not? So, whatever. But I love that when she finally does, like, she gets in there and she sees the evidence, She pockets a good amount of it. She like takes everything she can and just stuffs it into her pockets. Awesome. Smart. Fuck yeah, that's awesome. Because a lot of times in these movies, we get that character who's like they see what happened and then they run out and they grab everyone and they're like, look, come here, I told you. And then they come back and everything's missing and they're like, but I could have sworn. One of my biggest pet peeves in horror. I hate that. I don't know why it drives me fucking crazy. And John Saxon's character is such a typical agent kind of character where he's all about the money. He like tries to play off like he cares because he's talking to Peter about how like, Peter's like, I could die here. I need to get out of here. I need to get home. Like I can't stay here to try to sign this deal. And he's like, right, okay, yeah, you're right, okay, but how about, it's all money in his head, which he's the agent, I mean, that's his business, but he doesn't give a fuck about him. And then we get the call, and we think we're going to find out who the killer is, and the axe, oh man, I love that, because the kid finds out, he goes to the house, he's trying to figure it out, and then the killer goes in and grabs the axe, who... Obviously, we find out that the killer was killed like halfway into the movie or so, or a little over halfway, by the writer, which is a cool twist. I mean, how often do you see that in a movie? That the killer was killed a good amount of way into the film, maybe like halfway into the movie. Talk about Psycho, like people were talking about how Janet Leigh was like the main character was killed off. The main killer was killed off halfway through. You didn't even know, and then the person who killed him, who's the main fucking protagonist of the film, ends up using that as an excuse to kill other people who he hates and wants to, frame on the killer who he already killed. That's just great shit. That's a fantastic twist. So, and of course they're using the Hounds of Baskerville line here, which you've seen. I've heard that line in 100 fucking movies and TV shows now. But that girl who's waiting for the other girl to get there, and she's just sitting there and she has like the gun in her hand, and we get the axe that comes down and just chops her arm off. I also love that the axe has blood all over and it's like stuck in a tree on the crime, like by the crime scene. Man, those police dudes are not very good at checking the perimeter and finding, checking around the surrounding areas, looking for a murder weapon. It may have been put there later, I don't know, but I think it's supposed to have been there since the guy, because that's the one he killed the dude with, I think. Whoa, yeah, really? But anyway, the arm chop is so brutal. It's almost like Asian horror, where the blood spray is ridiculous. It's like it's just like a super soaker for an arm, and it just sprays the walls with blood. It's fucking great, man. It is so good looking. I adore that. And the arm getting chopped off looks real. It looks brutal. Great shot. Great shot. And then this girl walks through the door and Peter like cracks her in the back, and we're led to believe like, oh my god, maybe he killed the wrong person. We get two people in a row in this movie who get a hatchet, axe thing, whatever, to the back, like right here, like in the shoulder, and they both die like instantly. The detective and his ex-wife or whatever. Really? Like, really? You wouldn't die from that, and if you did, it would take a while. So a little suspension of disbelief. He couldn't hit him in the neck or in the head. Like it had to be in the shoulder, both of them? Okay, sure, why not? And then he fakes his own death, which is great. I mean, this cop's an idiot. He didn't check the girl's pulse, who he came in on him killing. He didn't, he was like, oh, she must be dead. Like, I'm not going to do my job here at all. And then, Peter cuts his fucking throat, and the detective's, I guess, just like, oh, well, he's dead. He doesn't try to save him at all. Like, when you slit your throat, you have a window. Like, it's not a very big one, but you could go and try to, put a compression on it and be like, no, you're not getting away with it. Like, I'm going to take you, like we see in all these movies, but maybe you just wanted to let him bleed out. But, yeah, he doesn't check him at all, nothing. And he just takes the girl out to the car and comes back and gets his ass. I love when he does, go down and the guy's behind him and then he comes back up and he blocks them again. That's a really cool shot as well. And then we get the art piece that falls on the door. He's behind the door. She opens the door, and the thing falls, and one of the pieces comes off and impales him. I'm pretty sure that thing would have to be moving super fast to go through his entire body. Doesn't matter. It's a great shot, and he's just sitting there, and he can't get it out because it's stuck in the wall. As I said, it not only went through him, but it also went into the wall, so much so that he couldn't even pull it out by putting the full weight of his body and his arms pushing it forward. That thing would have had to been shot out of a fucking air compressor, like out of a shotgun. But whatever. The movie's awesome. So who gives a shit? Yeah, this is such a good one, man. This is such a good one. What a wonderful movie. So anyway, guys, all right. Time to move on.